The show goes on, ladies and gentlemen. The show goes on. Here we are. Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes 3. UFC 325. I'm going to be breaking down the entire card from start to finish. And as much as I would love to make videos about 2 days ago's card, it's time to move on. I will make some videos during the week, but I really wanted to get this kind of breakthrough out because there's a big fight. You know which one I'm talking about. That will link directly to Paddy Pimblett. I don't need to say no more. But Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. This is one of those fights where I'm always going to be a little bit worried for our boy Volk. I'm always going to be a little bit worried. Let me just adjust this for you guys real quick. I'm always going to be a little bit worried for Volkanovski. Obviously, I think Volk is the greatest featherweight of all time. I think Volk's chin is suspect in this stage of his career. Lopez hits hard. As much as I think Volk put like not a schooling, but Volk was superior in their first fight, I definitely think Diego Lopes always has a chance. I would love to see Diego Lopes maybe grapple a little bit more. I think Volkanovski's so defensively sound. He'd be kicking with the leg kick, and then he go out up, and then he come in with the left in, but he has no power. He's got no power, and if fucking mate, he hit me fucking hard, and Lopez hits fucking hard. Volkanovski does not hit hard, so obviously the skill advantage is with Volk in this fight, and Lopez has the power advantage. I think Lopez is extremely stationary. I think Lopez kind of stays in one position, kind of bounces up and down like a bunny rabbit. I don't necessarily think Lopez has good head movement. I don't think he's defensively sound. I just think he's hella fucking dangerous and hella fucking quick. But, boy Volk, he's fucking seen that before, and he's going to take his fucking head off. I'm going to lean towards Volk. I was heavy on Diego Lopes beating him the first time, but this one's in Sydney. This is in Volk's backyard. I don't see Volkanovski slipping up too bad. There's always that chance, though. There's always that chance that Diego Lopes is going to catch him, that Diego Lopes will find the shot, that Lopez just has the range, that he's going to be too fast. And let's not forget, it's been a year since he's got fought. Lopez had an absolute fucking barn burner with Gene Silva. He ended up getting the win, but it was a fucking sketchy performance on his behalf. And Volkanovski's not really done anything. He's kind of sat out. He's not fought. There was kind of talks of Lerone Murphy in December. Then there was talks of, Mobzar. There were kind of all these different talks. Regardless if this is Volkanovski's last fight, Volkanovski is the greatest featherweight to ever live. Max Holloway 3 times is enough to make you the greatest featherweight to ever live. Yair Rodriguez, Diego Lopes, Brian Ortega, Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes, the Korean Zombie. This list is insane. He's got one of the best resumes in UFC history, okay? I think what holds Volkanovski's resume back is the second Holloway fight, the Makhachev losses, and Topuria. He's had the losses on the record, but that doesn't take away the fact he's the greatest featherweight of all time. I think people think you need to be undefeated to be the greatest of all time. I still think Volkanovski could beat a few of these guys. I think he would beat Lerone Murphy, and I think he would beat Mobzar. But I feel like this is probably one of his hardest stylistic fights. I think Gene Silva would beat Volkanovski, which is mad to say because he barely beat Arnold Allen. Stylistically, I think Volk would be, fucking coming over here, and then he go like that, and then he fucking throw a leg kick, and then Silva would just splatter him. Silva would absolutely splatter him, which is extremely worrying. I really hope Gene Silva doesn't get anywhere near Volk, because I'd be confident that Gene Silva, but Volkanovski might be able to just school him, but I always have the image of prime Volk in my head when it comes to just Volkanovski. I'm not ready to let go. I'm not ready to let go. I'm not ready to let Volk go. I'm not ready for our boy to retire. The fact he has the belt, it's the perfect ending. And as much as I'm not ready, I want to see it. I want to see Volk on top. I'm beating Diego Lopes. This rematch sucks. It shouldn't be happening. It should be Mobzar. It should be Lerone. I don't think Lerone or Mobzar actually deserve it, but I think Lopez just got generational timing, and it was such a good fight, the one before. You kind of had to do it, because think about it. Like, you gave it to Lerone Murphy. He beat someone who hasn't got a win in the UFC. I know it was an incredible elbow. I know it was. But Aaron Pico fucking sucks, dude. Aaron Pico loses to anybody good. Look at his fucking resume. Okay, Aaron Pico loses to anybody good, dude. He sucks. Lerone Murphy just beat, I think it was Josh Emmett and Edson Barboza. Like, that's not enough to get you a title shot. And Mobzar pulled out of the fight against Aaron Pico. What can you do? Mobzar's bottled it so many times. And Mobzar's got a good resume, like Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling. These are top-level wins. And Aljo could throw his name in the hat. But you can't lose to Mobzar, beat Ortega, and expect a title shot. Especially with the way Brian Ortega's career is kind of gone. Like, you just can't be doing that. But I definitely think this is a great scrap. I definitely think that Volkanovski is still the best featherweight. Our boy Volk, he's done us so proud over the years. He's had so many great memories. He's a great guy. I love Volkanovski. Great guy. He's a great friend of mine. And I would love to see him at the White House. Great guy. Love Volkanovski. Where for Lopez, the problem with giving Diego Lopez another title shot is that you're using the unlimited title shot glitch again. One win title shot glitch needs to be patched. And I think they need to set the standard here with Sean O'Malley. You cannot give O'Malley a rematch against Yan, okay? Even though they fucking might. You can't just spam the unlimited title shot glitch, okay? There has to be a point. Look at Gaethje, he's a 2-time interim champion. And poor Gaethje has to go through Ilia Topuria and Khabib to get a crack at the undisputed. Like, it's actually insane. But I think Volkanovski's legacy is one of the best ever. And I don't necessarily think Diego Lopez... I haven't seen the improvements. You know, Lopez is just so dangerous. But stylistically, I think Volk is just technically way better. Now, Volk might come in here and be hella rusty. Volk might come in here and look slow. Volk might come in here and look old. Lopez might catch Volk. Like I said before, there's always that worry that Diego Lopez is going to catch Volkanovski. Simply because Volk is at that stage of his career. You know, he got knocked out by Ilia 2 years ago. I think Ilia versus Volk actually would have been a completely different fight if Volk didn't get knocked out. I know it's easy to say that. But I'm not mad if you pick Volk to beat Ilia in his prime. But, you know, Volk does his thing, is then he fucking leans back like that, he fucking shit up in the end, Ilia just caught him. Up against the fucking cage as well, he was out like a lot. And I don't think Diego Lopez is necessarily defensively sound. That's why he gets hit so much, but he's just got such a good chin. I don't think he needs to worry about getting hit by Volk. Volk has no power. He wasn't even able to TKO the Korean zombie. He had to, like, stand. The ref had to just be like, no, you're just beating the shit out of him. No one paid to see this. Let's just fucking go. Obviously, he had the incredible wins against Max Holloway. The three of them were unbelievable. I know the second fight, I don't think Volk won either. I won't lie. But you have to give him the credit that he shut Holloway down with leg kicks in the first fight. And then in the third fight, it was just, you know, Holloway got a cut over his eye and would have been a completely different story if he didn't. But still, if Holloway didn't get cut over his eye, actually, I'm just going to fucking say it, that would have been a different fight. It would have been a different fight, bro. And I definitely think Holloway is just getting better every fight. The dude is just a different beast at lightweight, and I think he'd make Paddy Pimblett's face look unrecognizable. Holloway would beat the living fucking shit out of Paddy Pimblett. That wouldn't be a competitive fight. And look what Volk has done to this guy. 3 times. Even twice if you want to take it that far. And for Diego Lopez, he's got a bright future, but I don't like that if he loses this, he's probably only got one more undisputed in him. And listen, I'm not really trying to see Diego Lopez as champ. I don't really care. I do think Lopez is entertaining. I think he's fun fight. I do think he's, you know, all these. But I'm going to go with Volkanovski via decision. And I hope Volkanovski gets this one done, boys. Our fucking, you sexy bald fuck. Co-main event. I forgot Fraziva and Mauricio Rufus on this card. Fuck. Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. I'm going BSD. My old nemesis. My arch nemesis. My guy that started the views on this channel. If you know, you know. If you know where the BSD... Listen, me and BSD are cool. Okay? Me and BSD are cool. We shelved the beef. There's no real problems. There's no personal issue here between me and Benoit Saint Denis. None at all. But I am going to be picking him in this fight. And I think this is quite like a routine win to get himself submitted in that top 5. To get himself with the big names. To get himself with the big dogs in the lightweight division. Dan Hooker. I hope to God that you win this fight. I've never wanted someone... I know it's the first time I've ever probably shown my face without glasses, but still. I hope to fucking God... It's still dirty. I hope to fucking God that you beat Benoit Saint Denis. Because that sets you up with a generationally big fight with Paddy Pimblett. It is absolutely insane how big of a fight that could be. But every time I see Dan Hooker fight, I'm just like, you're so slow, bro. Hooker's so slow. Hooker kind of sucks, I won't lie. Hooker's just fucking slow, and I don't think he's that great of a fighter. he should have never been in that cage with Arman. Let's be honest here. Arman's completely miles apart. That was a routine win to get Arman back in the mix and to kind of just remind us that Arman is still here. But Dan Hooker is not a top 5 fighter. Dan Hooker is mid. I don't know who the fuck was ever picking him to beat Gaethje. That was a terrible shout. And for Benoit Saint-Denis, he's really coming into a shell the last couple of fights. The Mauricio Rufy fight was absolutely incredible. I picked Rufy to fucking annihilate him. I thought Rufy was going to smack the shit out of him. And lo and behold, Benoit Saint-Denis managed to pull off the upset. In a fight that I really did not expect him to do that. For Dan Hooker, you're so slow and you don't really use your range. Why aren't you like keeping all the time like Sean O'Malley? Why aren't you throwing out vicious jabs and keeping at range? Because you're so lanky. You're so lanky. You have range. You have at least a decent skill set. Like, you knocked out Gilbert Burns. You can compete in the UFC with some high-level guys. But Benoit Saint-Denis is fresh. Benoit Saint-Denis is hungry. Benoit Saint-Denis is on the come-up. And listen, I know I exposed his ass. I know I exposed him. I know I picked Dustin Poirier to knock him out. I know I proved everyone wrong and I was right. But still, the beef is over. That's 2 years ago. I still feel like Benoit Saint-Denis will never get a title. I don't think Benoit Saint-Denis is ever going to touch gold. I just don't think so. Like, if you don't breeze Dan Hooker, I'd be very worried. Now, I know, but like, the fact is, you're coming off a loss as well, Hooker, to Arman, and like a real Dan Hooker was in a #1 contender fight a few weeks ago, months ago, I should say. I was at that fight, by the way. I was fucking sick. But Dan Hooker was literally at a #1 contender fight at lightweight mere months ago, bro. Okay, now he's fighting Benoit Saint-Denis. The dude is a dog. The whole Paddy Pimblett situation. I'm just gonna say it. Dan Hooker probably shouldn't have said what he said, but Pimblett made a fair game. Sorry. That's genuinely what I believe. I don't think you should joke about someone's mom getting, assaulted in that kind of a way. You shouldn't even compare it. I don't care if you were just giving an analogy. You don't give that analogy. Okay, that's disgusting. And of course, Pimblett had to play the victim card. Okay, like he always does. He's always the victim, Pimblett. But Dan Hooker probably shouldn't have said what he said. But Pimblett made a fair game. For Benoit Saint-Denis, I think the range here is going to be key. Dan Hooker never fucking uses it. So you might as well use your own range. Use the body kicks. I think the body kicks, we've seen Dan Hooker struggle with it against Edson Barbosa. I know that's a long time ago. But the body kicks have always been a weakness of Dan Hooker. He's not great on the ground either. He just got, full mount arm triangles by Arman. Do I think Benoit Saint-Denis is an Arman Sarukian? No. But Benoit Saint-Denis definitely improved a lot with the grappling in the Mauricio Rufy fight. He had some success in the grappling as well with the Dustin Poirier fight. Even had success on the feet. That was a competitive fight before he got chinned, which I predicted, by the way. And I think keeping that range and also implementing the grappling is going to be huge. I do think he will be able to get Dan Hooker down. I didn't think he'd be able to get Mauricio Rufy down, if I'm being honest with you. I thought Rufy was going to be way too much for him on the feet because, listen, I think Mauricio Rufy is one of the best strikers in the sport at the moment. Him versus Saint-Denis was just like a match made in heaven, but Saint-Denis just fucking obliterated him in there. I think keeping at range, using the body kicks, implementing the grappling is only going to lead to Dan Hooker's chin being open. If Dan Hooker's worried about his kicks and he's worried about the takedown, his chin's going to be in the air. The sharp right that Benoit Saint-Denis has, mixed up with a jab. Ooh. That is going to cause Dan Hooker some serious problems. I think Dan Hooker's way too fucking slow for Saint-Denis on the feet. Way too slow. Saint-Denis is just better everywhere, in my opinion. He's going to be able to mix it up. Hooker needs to keep at range and use it, but I've said this in every Dan Hooker fight, and he's just never done it. So I'm not going to start betting on Dan Hooker to start using his range in one of the last fights of his career, okay? He said he's never going to get a title. I'm glad he realizes that. If he went in there and beat Arman, I still wouldn't have picked him to beat anybody in the top 5, if I'm being honest. I think Holloway would absolutely butcher this kid, and I think Oliveira makes him look silly in every single aspect. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Arman could be a fun fight. Quite interesting to see where this fight takes. I definitely think Pimblett should be next for these two. I think Pimblett versus Hooker. If Hooker can get the win, if this goes to a decision, we've seen Dan Hooker got a robbery win against Mateus Gamrot in Perth. Now this isn't Sydney, I know, but they're going to be given as kind of like the hometown fighter, you could say. So I feel like Dan Hooker can definitely nod like a decision win or some shit like that, maybe like a robbery or some shit like that. But Benoit Saint-Denis is way too good. Saint-Denis surprised me so much against Mauricio Rufy to the point where I was like, damn, I'm not really going to be betting against you anytime soon, especially not against someone like Dan Hooker. So Saint Denis is going to use his kicks to the body. He's going to use kicks to the legs. He's going to implement the grappling. He's going to be able to get this one done. I feel like he's going to finish Dan Hooker in the second round. That's my prediction for this fight. It's a good fight. I'm really looking forward to that. Dan Hooker's game as fuck. I love Dan Hooker so much, bro. Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Rufy. It's actually crazy. We actually have a decent fucking Australia card. It's pretty weird. I'm going to go with... I've been back and forth on this one. In my mind, I've been back and forth about who I'm going to pick. Do I go Mauricio Rufy? Do I go Rafael Fiziev? How do I see this fight going? I think this is going to be a treat for UFC fans to really show how high-level striking that this fight is going to be. I think Mauricio Rufy slipped up against Saint Denis. I think his grappling game plan was just completely wrong. It was all off. He looked absolutely shit. Rafael Fiziev hasn't looked good in a long time. He fought on the Azerbaijan card, the Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree. When was that? Was it during the summer? I don't know. That was a while ago, actually. So I don't think Rafael Fiziev is exactly active. I don't think Rafael Fiziev is ever going to fight for a belt. He had his chance when he fought Justin Gaethje the first time. I picked Rafael Fiziev to start Gaethje in the first round. I thought he was going to be way too slick for him on the feet. That was a great fight. I really like watching that fight back. For Mauricio Rufy, he got one of the best KOs ever against Bobby Green, but he looked mid as fuck. Against Benoit Saint Denis, and I don't like that he's coming off that kind of a fight heading into this one. But I do think this is one of those fights where I thought it was going to be a striking masterclass. I don't think this is going to be necessarily a high entertainment fight. I don't like saying that because for fucking months I was sitting there and I was like, this is going to be a generational fight. This is going to be absolutely huge. This is going to be one of the best striking fights that you could see. It's going to be very technical. Mauricio Rufy and Fiziev are technical. Fiziev played it very smart in his last fight on the Azerbaijan card. I believe that was his last fight. On the Hill versus Roundtree card. The guy, Bahamendez or something, he fought Bahamendez, some shit like that. He played it smart. He used his range. He used his kicks. The Fiziev kick is one of the best kicks that we see in the sport. So I want to see him use that in this if he's going to win. I'm hoping Mauricio Rufy wins because I think Mauricio Rufy is a fucking savage. I love his style. I love the way he fights. I love his strikes. I love how clean he is. He just needs to implement the grappling, or improve the grappling, I should say. I don't think Fiziev is obviously going to shoot any takedowns. I'm not that stupid. I think Fiziev is going to want to keep this standing. But I also think that's Mauricio Rufy's game plan. So I feel like it's going to be whose timing is better. Because that's what's going to come down to, in my opinion. Who's got the better timing in this fight? At the moment, I'm going to lean a little bit towards Rafael Fiziev. I've seen a little bit more. I think he's a little bit more sharp with the body kicks. I think he's going to be able to implement the kicks to the leg. For Mauricio Rufy, it's a lot of spinning shit. It's a lot of spinning back shit. But you have to remember who's in front of you. It's another high-level striker. It's someone that does the flashy shit as well. It's someone that does all that and more. That's where I'm kind of leaning towards Rafael Fiziev on this one. I think it's going to be a decision. I don't think he's going to finish Mauricio Rufy. Holy fuck, if Mauricio Rufy loses again, that would be heartbreaking. I'm ready to see Rafael Fiziev go. I'm ready. I have no loyalty to him. He let me down so bad in the Gaethje fights. The first fight in particular, he was able to get Gaethje in like an inverted triangle in the second one in the first round, but Gaethje kind of fell into it. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was massive. But I feel like it's just going to be a technical fight. And I feel like Fiziev is going to be able to do a little bit more with the kicks, a little bit more to the body, a little bit more to the legs, maybe a few flurry punches that might land and the guy go, ooh, and then he goes and throws like a fucking sharp left kick to the body. I don't think this is going to be hell entertaining, bro. And I've tried to convince myself over the last couple of months since this fight got announced. I was like, this is going to be sick. He's going to start him. He's going to slap him. They're going to, but it's not going to be like that. It's going to be technical. It's going to be a masterclass. It's going to be a game of inches in this. I trust Fiziev's timing that a little bit more, okay? I thought Mauricio Rufy looked fucking dog shit cardio in the Saint Denis fight. I think he fucking sucked at standing. And Saint Denis grappling, it was so obvious what he was going to do in there. So obvious. And that's why I cannot trust Mauricio Rufy in this fight. If he had like one or two more tune-ups against like a Drew Dober or Moicano, then I could sit here and say, okay, maybe I'm a little bit more confident. If I've seen you go 3 hard rounds, you're able to push yourself, you're able to keep that pace, and you're able to just kind of find the shots that a little bit better, you learn from the St. Denis fight, then I might be able to. I do think he's going into a favourable matchup, which is just a striker. Fiziv's not going to fucking shoot, but it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight. So I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziv, 29-28. Maybe Mauricio Rufin might be able to get some success later on after he kind of figures him out, but I feel like it's going to be too late, boys. I feel like it's going to be too late. So I'm going with Rafael Fiziv on that one. It's a very good card. I like this card. Obviously, these guys down here aren't exactly known, but we'll go through the card. Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. I'm never in my life going to bet on Tai Tuivasa ever again. I made the mistake of betting on Tai Tuivasa once or twice, and it's not worth it, boys. It's not worth it. I don't think Tai Tuivasa is good. I don't think Tai Tuivasa is elite. I don't think Tai Tuivasa has any skill set apart from heavy hands. I don't think Taliesin Teixeira is anything special either. He lost to Derek Lewis. That's all I need to know. Heavyweights are just fat, slow, out-of-shape slobs that go in there and just bang. Now, when is the last time Tai Tuivasa won a fight? Was it fucking Derek Lewis? It could be Derek Lewis, to be honest with you. I actually think it is Derek Lewis. I don't know when's the last time he won a fight. Taliesin Teixeira, I'm going to pick you in this one. You're 6'7", you're way bigger. Tai Tuivasa is just done. He's heavy-handed. He's fun to watch. I'll always say Tai can get the knockout, because he can. This guy can drop Suragan, for fuck's sake. Like, he's got decent hands. Like, he's got good boxing, bro. He's got good boxing. Everywhere else is completely hopeless, but he's got good boxing, and he's fast, and he's got heart. He's very quick with the hands, I must say. Tai is quick with his hands, and but that's not going to make a difference. I'm going with Taliesin Teixeira via second round submission, second round TKO, second round finish, to be honest with you. Maybe even the first. I'm never betting on Tai Tuivasa again, boys. I'm never betting on Tai Tuivasa again. Quinlan, fucking, it's not working. 1 second. I don't know what's going on with my thing, but yes, we got Quinlan Sackler versus Jamie Mullarkey. I'm gonna go with Quinlan on this one. Quinlan, I should say. He's smooth with it, bro. He's good on the feet. He's crisp. I don't know why it's not letting me click that. I don't know what's going on with this. Maybe let me click that one, so we'll get on to the next one. But yeah, I'm going to go Quinlan on that one. I think he's slick with it. I think he's got fucking serious hands. I think he's sharp. I think he's quick. I've seen a few highlights. I've seen a few of his fights. I think he's good, bro. I think he's good. I think Jamie Mullarkey's basic. I think Jamie Mullarkey's slow. I think he's plodding. Fuck, Quinlan can be a problem at lightweight. This is going to be a good one. If he can get Jamie Mullarkey out of there in the first round, I think this dude's an absolute problem in the division. This is like the first good Australia card in ages, but yeah, I'm going to go Quinlan via first round TKO on that one. Jamie Mullarkey's tough. Jamie Mullarkey's good, but I'm going to go. I think this dude's could be a fucking issue at lightweight, to be honest with you. I think he's got such good hands. He's sharp. He's entertaining. He looks kind of fucking funny. Like, he's got a little bit of a look to him. He's got the mustache and shit. So yeah, I'm going to go with him on that one via first round TKO, but it's going to be a good scrap. Next up, we have Junior Tafa versus, who's that guy in FaZe? What's that guy's name in FaZe? I can't, Jarvis. Versus FaZe Jarvis, what the fuck? I'm going to go with Billy Alcana on this one, to be honest with you. I don't really like betting on Justin or Junior Tafa at all. I think they're both pretty fucking shit. I think they're both just heavy-handed. How they got in the UFC, I think they got in the UFC just to make up the numbers in Australia, to be honest with you, because I think they're both fucking shit. So I don't like Junior Tafa in this one at all. 6-4, I think he's fucking wank. He's definitely just there to make up the numbers for Australia, let's be honest with you. So I'm going to go with Billy Alcana on that one. Next up, we have Cam Roston versus Cody Brundage. I'm going to go Cam Roston on this one. I feel like these kind of lower fights. Cody Brundage isn't terrible, but he just kind of fought Bodical and didn't really do anything else with his career. For Cam Roston, I think he's, I feel like a lot of these Australia fighters are going to get kind of favourable matchups on the prelims, so I'm going to go him on this one. I'm not too familiar with Cody Brundage's latest fights, so I'm going to go with Cam Roston on this one. I think he's sharp. I think he's going to be a little bit better. I think he's going to be able to get him out of there because, this is his first fight in a while, I think. I haven't seen him in there in ages, but yeah, Cody Brundage's is going to weigh 202 pounds for this fight, so. But the rest of the fight, these kind of prelim fights are going to shit, but there's one I want to talk about. Torres Finney's definitely going to win. Owen Elliott versus Jonathan McAuliffe. Now, if you know this channel, I'm quite a Cage Warriors fan. there was a long time I wanted to see Ovanelli in the UFC, and there was a long time I was thinking, I don't know if Ovanelli is going to get in the UFC. And then I was kind of thinking he might fight Mason Jones. He might kind of go down that path. But Ovanelli, he lost, I think it was the last fight or the fight before, but the dude is a dog. The dude is a dog, if I'm being honest with you. I'm picking Ovanelli on this one. I know Ovanelli's skill set isn't exactly all there, but I think he's good. I think Ovanelli can scrap as well. I think he's a fucking dog. He's limited, though. He's limited. He's not from England. He's from Wales, which is kind of funny. But he can scrap, bro. And I like his hands. I like his aggressiveness. I like his ground and pound. Like, he can grapple sometimes, too. He can grapple. So I'm going to go with Ovanelli on this one. I'm a Cage Warriors fanatic. I love Cage Warriors. You know, Hardwicks. I watched Luke Riley. I know Shamrock wasn't in Cage Warriors. He was in Octagon. But I watched Shamrock before the UFC. I watched Kalen Loughran before he got cut. I watched Ovanelli. I watched Vucenic. I've watched Hughes. I'm watching Will Curry at the moment. I watched Loughran Kavanagh since he was an amateur, which is pretty fucking crazy, and it fucking hurt when he got knocked out. But I've been watching these guys for fucking ages, bro. I love MMA. Like, I just love watching everything about MMA. I've even gone to a few amateur events just to see. Like, I know a lot of these amateur fighters. I know a lot of them. So yeah, I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of just like loving MMA. I love MMA. It's the best shit on the planet, boys. But yeah, I'm going to go Ovanelli on this one. Another one of my prospects kind of moving up. I wasn't there, but I remember when he fought James Sheehan fucking 3 years ago in Ireland. That was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah, time flies, boys. Time flies. And the rest of the card, you know, these kind of fighters that I don't really know, and I'm not going to sit here and talk shit. I don't know what the fuck that guy's face is looking like that for. That is disgraceful. You need to get that sorted, bro. But main event is going to be sick. The card is pretty good. It's quite rare we get a decent Australia card. So let's just enjoy it, boys. Let's just enjoy it. But like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.